होवे जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देवे जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देवे चतुर्दिशा की नोबल अपना सिर ऊपर करता रहो चतुर्दिशा की नोबल अपना सिर ऊपर करता रहो जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव कृपा ठाक अब लोकन की नो दास का दुख बिदारियो जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव कंठ लाए अवगुण सब मेटे दयाल पुरख बख्शंद कंठ लाए अवगुण सब मेटे दयाल पुरख बख्शंद जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव जो मांगे ठाकुर अपने ते सोई सोई देव
Good morning, everyone. Hello. Good morning. Eva asked me to read the schedule because he just got home. So let me read it. 1 second. We have a song by Stephanie, Someone Like You, it's called. And then we have jokes by our dear brother Rishi. And then there is a talk by me. Then there is a talk by our dear Dr. Chand, and his topic today is how to come out of delusion. Then we will play Ishwar Puri Ji, and we will meditate together with love and devotion and enjoy the presence of divinity together. Okay, so let me play our dear sister Stephanie.
I heard that you've left this plane that you reunited with total love. I heard that your dreams came true. Guess you got everyone on your list, did you? Old friend, while you are away, ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. Please turn up out of the blue, you are invited, and I could never stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped to see your face, and that I'll be reminded that you are still here. Never will I find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me, I'll beg, I'll remember. You said all we are is love, but sometimes we just forget. All we are is love, but sometimes we just forget. You know how the time flies. Only yesterday was the time of our lives. We were born and raised in a summer haze, bound by the surprise of our glory days. Please turn up out of the blue, you are invited. I could never stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped to see your face, and that I'll be reminded that you are still here. Never will I find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me, I beg, I'll remember. You said all we are is love, but sometimes we just forget. Nothing compares, no worries or cares, regrets and mistakes, the memories made. Who would have known how bittersweet this would taste? Never will I find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you. Don't forget me, I beg, I remember you said all we are is love, but sometimes we just forget. All we are is love, and let us not forget.
Thank you, dear Stephanie. Thank you. That was a beautiful love and devotion to our Holy Father, Ishwar Puriji. Thank you so much. We loved it. We love your voice. You're on mute, Dr. Chant. Did you want to say something, Dr. Chant?
Well, I was very keen to appreciate Stephanie's song, you know. It was really wonderful, beautiful. Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It's all His grace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. The light of God is all around you. Okay. Rishi, welcome. You're on mute.
Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, awesome. Hello, everyone, and happy Friday. And I'm happy to be here, and it's good to see everyone. And I have a couple of jokes, and the first one is really funny. And I wish Master was here to hear it because I think he'd get a real good laugh out of it, and he could tell it way better than I can. So here goes. Okay. I pulled into a crowded parking lot at the local shopping center and rolled down the car windows to make sure my Labrador Retriever dog had fresh air. She was stretched full out on the back seat, and I wanted to impress on her that she must remain there. I walked to the curb backwards, pointing my finger at the car and saying emphatically, "Now you stay. Do you hear me? Stay, stay." The driver of a nearby car, a pretty young blonde, gave me a straight look and said, "Why don't you just put it in park?" So that was the first one. I thought that was hilarious. But okay, a guy and his fiance are on their way to get married. There is a horrible car crash and both of them die. They're sitting in line waiting to go through the pearly gates. And the girl says, "I really wanted to get married. I wonder if we could still get married in heaven." When they get to the gates, they decide to ask St. Peter. St. Peter says, "I don't know. No one has ever asked me that before. Wait here and I'll find out." So a month goes by and St. Peter still has not returned. Another month goes by and the young couple are talking. The guy says, "I really do want to get married, but this is taking eternity. What if it doesn't work out?" Another month passes and St. Peter finally returns. He says, "I have great news. Yes, you can get married in heaven." The couple exclaims, "That's wonderful, but we were wondering if it doesn't work out, could we get a divorce?" St. Peter is furious and slams his clipboard on the ground. "What's wrong?" they ask. St. Peter replies, "Oh, come on. It took me 3 months to find a priest up here. Do you have any idea how long it will take me to find a lawyer?" Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.
There are no priests in heaven, nor lawyers. Everybody is enjoying, I guess. Thank you so much, dear Rishi. That was very funny. Thank you. Wow. Just like the old times with Master, when Rishi gives Master the joke, it brings the memories of our Holy Father and the joy of his presence. And he is present with us. We feel him. We feel him every morning. And every morning it's time to make love again to God. It's time to make love. That's what satsang is, that we gather together to make love with God, with our inner self, with our core of the cores, the center of creation, deep inside of us. We look for that divinity, and we become mastanas, really, that the lovers of God. Um, it becomes so intense. It becomes so intense that we want so much from God. We want His presence at every second that we become crazy, mad men, mad women for God. I remember, I remember when we were gathering around Ishwar G, and he's leaving. He's leaving satsang, and we're throwing kisses. We're running after him. We're throwing kisses, and he started throwing kisses back. I come from a family that likes to kiss a lot, so I'm used to kissing. So like when Ishwar Puriji, like he's going in his car, like I started throwing kisses to him, and then he started throwing kisses back. We become crazy. We become crazy for God, crazy for the presence of divinity, crazy to just be in that aura of the saint, crazy to be to just want to leave this world and be in the kingdom of God with Master for eternity. That's what happens to us. There is a poem, there is a poem from Rumi about, I read it this morning, about how we become madmen and how we become so crazy. Let me read that poem to you. It's so beautiful. One second. Where is it? It's called, whoops, Sublime Generosity. I was dead, then alive, weeping, then laughing. The power of love came into me, and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star. Wow, isn't that so beautiful? The power of love came into me, and I became fierce like a lion, then tender like the evening star. He said, "You're not mad enough." God said to his disciple, "You're not mad enough. You need to be more mad for me. Become more mastana. You're not mad enough. You don't belong to this house." I went wild and had to be tied up. He said, "Still not wild enough to stay with us." I broke through another layer into joyfulness. He said, "It's not enough." I died. He said, "You're a clever little man, full of fantasy and doubting." I plucked out my feathers and became a fool. He said, "Now you're the candle for this assembly." But I'm not a candle. Look, I am scattered smoke. He said, "You are the sheikh, the guide, but I'm not a teacher. I have no power." He said, "You already have wings. I can't give you wings." But I wanted his wings. I felt like some flightless chicken. Then new event said to me, "Don't move. A sublime generosity is coming toward you." This look, look how beautiful this line is. A sublime generosity is coming towards you. Sublime generosity. Wow. This is our assembly here in this circle of lovers. We wait for the sublime generosity that comes to us every day and showers us with mercy, with love, and with grace. The sublime generosity of Master. Wow. An old love said, "Stay with me." Old love. Wow, old love. This love that we have for God, this love that we have for the perfect one, for Master, for Satpursh, is a very, very, very old love. It's an ancient love. And now it's just being awakened again, our true self. And the old love said, "Stay with me. Stay with me." I said, "I will." I will. I will stay with that love forever, for eternity. You are the fountain of the sun's sunlight. I am a willow shadow on the ground. You make my raggedness silky. You are the fountain of the sun's light. Wow, the fountain of the sun's light. The soul at dawn is like darkened water that slowly begins to say, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." The soul at dawn is like darkened water that slowly begins to say, "Thank you, thank you." When the grace, when the sublime generosity comes, the soul starts to think, to sing, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Then at sunset again, Venus gradually changes into the moon, and then the whole night sky. This comes of smiling back at your smile. This comes of smiling back at your smile. The chess master says nothing other than moving the silent chess pieces. That I am part of the ploys of this game makes me amazingly happy. Wow, this last two sentences is the whole show. That we are nothing but chess pieces being moved by the chess master, and me being part of this game, of this ploy, makes me amazingly happy. What Rumi is saying. Wow. Look at this next poem. It's called Like This. If anyone asks you, if anyone asks you how the perfect satisfaction of all your sexual wanting will look, lift your face and say like this. That means what he's saying, what Rumi is saying, is that his face became content. His face is contentment, no desires whatsoever. And if somebody asks him how perfect satisfaction of all sexual wanting is, he just lifts his face and show it, which is a face that is content, a face that has no desires, a face that wants nothing from the pleasures of this world, a face that is melted into divinity, a face that became one with God, one with the Master, and that's the true face. And that's our face, our face. When Master cleans up and polishes our mirror, our face will become the face of contentment. When someone mentions the gracefulness of the night sky, climb up on the roof and dance and say like this, we will become so graceful. Wow. Like, listen, the king of this world has to put a crown on his head and soldiers around him to show that he's a king. You know, that in this world, everything is opposite of love, that people have to show their rank, people have to put epithets before their name, professor, doctor, lawyer, and all those things. But the lovers of God, the lovers of God, the royal ones, the true ones, those those who are imbued with the nectar of divine love, those who are in Master and Master is in them, they don't have they don't have to carry an epithet before their name. They don't have, they're just, their face, like Rumi says, their face is perfect satisfaction. Perfect satisfaction. Their moves are just grace, grace moving. Their words are so subtle, so sublime, so sublime. They talk with the authority of Master. They talk with the authority of God. That's that's their definition. Their definition needs no definition. That they don't need to be defined in this world. Just God, if he wants to show his light, he could. He could, just like Baba Sawan Singh, that Rishi, that Sufi master that was fat, was sitting in front of him on the chair. And he said, I know who you are. Show your light. Show who you are. And then Baba Sawan Singh just showed him just one hair from his holy beard. The light of one hair of Baba Sawan Singh's beard flipped him over. He was struck by lightning and he flipped over his chair. And that was, Baba Sawan Singh said that was one, just one, that was the light of one hair of Baba Sawan Singh's beard. So this is the God-man. These are the Godmen. These are the true lovers of God, the Gurumukhs, those who melted themselves in God, that God can show their light if He wants to, that they, kings and emperors, come bowing to their feet, even though they could be like a weaver, like Saint Kabir, or a shoe cobbler, like Ravi Das. Does not matter, does not matter, but even kings will come and bow their head to their feet. Even kings will come bow down. They will be worshipped. This is what Guru Nanak says, that the lovers of the Lord, he makes everybody worships them, because that's what the Lord wants. Because the Lord God, he shows himself through his lovers. He uses his lovers. They become like the chess game, and he puts them wherever he wants. That he is in them head to toe, and he talks through them, he speaks through them, he looks at this world through them, and grace flows through the lovers of God. And that is our destiny. That is our great destiny, that once our mirror is polished by the grace of the Master, once all our desires, all our attachments, and everything we ever wanted from this world will be buried under a thick, will be buried and annihilated by the love of the Master. As love, love is a conscious entity, love is awareness, and love is the doer. Love is the doer, and love, if somebody asks for true love, they get true love. And what does true love do? It alchemizes the inner self. It burns, it annihilates everything that is opposite of love. Just like I said, when you light a match in the middle of darkness, then darkness runs away. And the same thing, when we ignite the love, the holy love of the Divine Master inside our hearts, that love, that love eradicates all that is illusion, all that is delusion, all that is untruth. All untruth runs away in the face of true love, in the face of the true one, in the presence of divinity. The untruth runs away, because love is the doer, love is conscious, love is awareness, and love is the word God. In the beginning was the word was with God, and everything that was created from that word. That is in the Holy Bible, um, and in Saint John, that love is the word, and let that word, the holy sound, re- resonates on all levels of creation, even in the physical plane at the coarsest material. It also resonates, and that is, if we catch that sound that is given to us as a grace of the Master, which he is the manifestation of that sound and the light, the manifestation of the word God, the Shabd. If we catch hold of that Shabd, it will take us through all levels of creation and then to absolute God, where it started from. It started from absolute God, and it will take us back home to absolute God. And that's where we'll be truly happy when we are living in the heart of Master. Master is living in our heart, and we are at our true home in the kingdom of God. And the kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of God can be here also, can be here, that we, once we clean our soul by the grace of Master, and that will happen. It will happen for us, all of us who attend satsang and who gather in the holy divinity gathering every day. That will happen surely, that the kingdom of God will be here on earth, that we will be walking here, but our higher self is in God, in the kingdom of God, enjoying at all levels. This is the promise of the Master. The floodgates will open once all desires, all attachments, and all karmic burdens are lightened and eradicated by the love of the Master. Then he will fully manifest himself into us. That time will come, and I can't wait for our future. We will become delicious. We will become like wine. The older it gets, the more tasty, the better, and the more value is put on it. And the same thing with the lovers of God. The more we ferment into God, the more we are imbued with love and with the color of the Lord, then that's our value. That's our worth. Oh, by the way, Master is offering a job. Master has a job offerings for you, and the payment is cannot be described. You will get eternal retirement in the kingdom of God and treasures added to you in this world. So I'm doing an announcement that our coordinators they need help. They need help at this time, and our coordinators are asking for people to help them do the coordination for satsang. Now this is a great seva that pays with the currency of the kingdom of God, and to do this selfless work. Wow, just for Master, for our Holy Father Ishwar Puri Ji, the payment cannot be described. We're not after the payments in selfless service. We are just after serving the Master. But yes, that's what the saints and masters say. Like there's nothing can be described for those who do selfless service in the mission of the Master. So if anybody wants to do seva, of coordination, please contact our coordinators, Sarah Hardevi, Paramjit, Simran, and Jyoti. And yes, okay, cool. This is my seva for today. Thank you, Master, for the seva that you give me every day. And it just puts joy and love into my heart and makes my day. Makes my day. And now I welcome our dear brother, Dr. Chand.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Michael. That's great. You start the whole program in such a nice manner that it goes on. It flows with the whole thing. Now you have said about the seva, and this job is going to get you lots of money, and that money you can use it in such kind. So it is the such concurrency. You will get that. That's wonderful. That's great. I think it will motivate the way you have said. It will motivate everybody. Now today's topic, we are taking up that how to avoid this delusion, this illusion delusion. So what really happens that right from the childhood, once we are born as a baby, now all the time we are busy with the needs of this body and the kind of things we learn here in this world. It keeps us busy. And this dream looks to be so real to us. And after many, many years, once we are fed up from this world, we are searching for something, we are trying to understand our own self, then we get to know about a little bit about ourselves, and then this delusion is taken care by the master. And if we are those seekers, then this delusion goes away, because it needs that critical thinking about yourself, what you are. And gradually over the time, once we see this world and how everybody deals with us here and how we deal only on time and material, that's what, we can gradually see that everybody is dying here. Nobody is here forever. And nothing remains because everything passes on. Now, how to really look at these delusions, that how we get, how this mind keeps on informing, because mind's job is to inform you. Because mind is nothing but information of time, the experiences and events you have in this life. That's what mind keeps on repeating time and again. And every day in the morning, you start your day and it all starts working for your body. You have your breakfast, then you go to the office, earn money, come back and buy your things. So all the time, we are busy in our time and material, body and mind. And that is what will not allow us to look into any other thing. It's the beauty of the call which keeps you involved here, and it doesn't want you to leave this time-bound material creation, because he is using you time and again. You go to your astral form once you die, then you come back again. You go back again after a small little window of about 100 years you are here. And then this going and coming, keeps us busy here. Once we are fully, saddened about this world, because we are practically lovers, because the God became from one to many for want of love. And to love, he became from one to many. He been loving us, we've been loving him. And we were at an era where time and material did not exist, because later on we acquired the mind which is dealing with time, past and future, and it has got all that information system, and it has got all laws of nature embedded in it. So this is how the mind, when we acquired the mind, then things started happening differently, because our attention, as it is said, that we can, once we start descending, we see only one region. Say, for example, once we started from the core where time and material did not exist. Once we saw this time and material dream of the Kal, we could see that. So this attention was looking only at that time, it forgot that we are that divine. So it got involved into time and material. And once we saw this, we took another dream known as the causal, the cause. The cause was to come and feel the creation. I every time say that you had a sketch of a human body. So we repeat all this, and in satsang we got to understand this particular aspect, that again we are getting into an illusion that uh, we will have a human body with these senses, and we will sense the whole creation, what Kal created. And we also thought that we can also create, because we are part of the absolute, and one part is a creator known as Kal, which created time and material. So we also thought that we can create things. Actually, we can. We are that capable force. So what we started with the causal mind and sketch of a human body which will feel all that. That was the cause, to come and feel the creation. So to have this experience. And then we decided how to have this experience. We are so lucky that Ishwar Puriji has explained in details about this area, that how we decided, how we wrote our own DVDs, how we wanted to work on it. And then once decided to go through different experiences, then we further refined that sketch into a complete blueprint, starting right from the single cell to create the crown of creation, the human body, as per Darwin's evolution theory. We created the first life, how we have created, because we ourselves are part of that light. Now we are connected through the Shabad, as Michael was saying right now, that the word was made flesh. So how this word, the sound, we are light and sound. So if light and sound strikes on pure elements, cut them into amino acids, and amino acids synthesize the proteins. Proteins are elements. So now the first single cell came up, and it has got all those abilities like God himself. that single cell in the beginning, known as blue-green algae, had the ability to become from one to many. And the soul has got these abilities because it is connected to divine, and the divine became from one to many to love. He's been loving us, we've been loving him. Now, love is the thing, which can take us out of the delusion, out of the illusions, of this world. Because if we keep seeking, then we will keep on understanding this part. So what I'm saying, that small little cell in the beginning, the first single cell, has got the ability to become from one to many. And it has got an ability to face things as they come. So this intelligent being as a single cell has got that ability to become from one to many. And these cells started living together. They decided to form, because the basic point was that all that information to become from single cell to the crown of creation, the human body, is already there, available to you in the astral mind and astral body. Because you had a causal mind and a causal body where you created a sketch of a human body. To make this wonderful crown of creation, the human body, which has got 100 trillion cells, a healthy body has got. So it is a built up of all those small little cells, which will be put together and create the crown of creation, the human body. Now, once you start understanding this area, my dear, the delusions and illusions start, they get washed away. Because now you know such an ability exists in you as your soul, which is connected to its source, the absolute. So what it did, that single cell became from one to many, and all those cells decided to live together, to create this human body gradually, systematically. So they all decided to make a common digestive system, a common brain, common spinal cord, and all those things were gradually being developed by your soul, my dear. And that soul is connected to its source. It had acquired the mind and started creating the body. So such a wonderful abilities in you, and that if this knowledge is there, it clears all those illusions and delusions that you are actually that. But then understanding, as a child I was explaining in the beginning, that we saw this world, we saw our parents, we developed those attachments, etc. And we were here. And all the time we are seeing as a child that everybody is working for the food which we need, for the clothes, for the housing, for all those vanities of the world, and then sex and sleep. So that is what is all. That's how we've been running into this world and not knowing anything. So this delusion started developing in such a manner that we forgot what we are. Then gradually, now again, if you know this, that this is what is happening, that we got to rather improve ourselves and do something better to tell that child. Because satsang is here, should do that part, that how our children should understand right from the beginning. Because the other day, I have got in my PowerPoint presentation, I have got a video where they are talking, Harvard University created that the architecture of the brain, how the brain gets developed. It has got certain circuits, that small little child, it has got circuits, and up to the age of 7 years, he develops those circuits to deal with this world, and he understands 80% of his life within those first 7 years. And those 7 years, we never told him this, that he is a soul. illusion keeps on increasing. And he thinks he is body and mind only. He is nothing more than that. So he's all the time working on it. But who's working? It is your attention, the outer expression of your soul, which is a creative intelligence. And this creative intelligence is connected to its source in real time. And it remains connected all the time, 24/7. Because that energy, which is energizing the whole cosmos 24/7, the same energy is running your system, your digestive system, blood flow, breathing, everything is happening. Can you imagine such a fathom thing? If you start looking at your own self, this will reveal and clear your delusions and illusions. But this is what is possible from the love of the master. That the master has to explain you this in such a manner that you really feel comfortable with it.
I think we lost Dr. Chand. He'll come back again. Just 1 second. Uh, I think his internet. But you guys can hear me good? Oh, okay.
He was speaking of such a beautiful talk.
Hello.
Oh,
Well,
here he
of
is.
course, I could know a little more on it. I'm sorry this interruption been there, because I have been told that there are some solar flares which are disturbing the internet systems. Now again, this is an information. Then this is how this time-bound material creation is creating problems for you, for all of us. But we are lucky that who created this internet system? Attention did it all, because all those people, the scientists and all, they gave their attention into time and material, and they could invent few things, new things, every time they do it. So now you have got that ability within you that I explained many a times, that right from that zygote cell in the mother's womb, how each and everything. This clears all those illusions and delusions, my dear. That if you start knowing yourself, they say in Indian language, Atma Gyan se Paramatma ka Gyan ho jata hai. Means that if you know yourself, you can know God. It's that easy. Because knowing your system, that how it is operating, how it got developed, and it is such a fathom engineering in it. Can you believe? Then these kind of things will take away your illusions and delusions, that there is some energy within you which is working here and now. All the time it is operating. And that's how this Simran again helps you to know yourself, to keep you reminded that you are a soul. You are that creative intelligence which has created this body. And suppose if you involve in the temporary pleasures of body and mind, as Michael was again mentioning about Rumi, that sexual things, you take pleasures in that. But once you look at a person who has already known this, so he's so calm. All his desires, you look, he's so simple, and he has understood all that game, that how body and mind together will create emotions, and emotions will create terrorists out of you to look after each and every requirement of your body. And this is how hunger, clothes, housing, vanities of the world, sex and sleep. And then mind is dealing with the information. I repeat it time and again, that mind is nothing but information of time. the experiences and events we have in this material body. And then further steps, when I heard Lothar Schäfer from Germany, he's a scientist, he's beautifully explained that we don't run our minds, our minds are being run by the universal mind. And that is what is taking care of our karma theory. And it was again confirmed by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in Iowa University. They have got a huge big establishment there. I had visited there, delivered my talk on sustainable humane transformation there. Now, they have explained that how certain components of your brain are connected to the whole cosmos through gravitational magnetic forces, as they move the whole sea up and down. And your body has got 75-80% water. The body also has got something similar, 75-80% as blood, as water in the body. So all those forces of the universal mind, which is having the configuration of different stars in the sky, and they have got all those gravitational magnetic fields operating the whole cosmos from Big Bang to black hole. It will continue from, it had started about 13.7 billion years ago, and it will go on for another 22 billion years as per science, material sciences. So they evaluate. And Dr. Stephen Hawking says that the whole creation is made out of nothing and is going to finish into nothing. So these are the scientific explanations to remove these delusions and illusions from you, that this is a temporary world. And this high tide, low tide runs your system and then triggers certain components of the brain, which deals with lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries, and your behavior becomes that. Now, looking into this, you can very easily understand that somebody else is operating your mind. You are not, because this is time and material, which is running your mind, and your mind is involving your attention. Again, I'll repeat certain things because most of the time Ishwar Puriji used to say that everybody tells me that I am repeating those points time and again. But without repeating, we don't understand things. We have to connect our life with all those examples. So this is how you got to understand this part, that how all these areas, are really withdrawing your attention and using it. Who are withdrawing? Body and mind. As I say, I'm repeating again, the hunger withdraws your attention. And the attention, which is divine, it has got divine attributes, it's wisdom. It takes you towards the kitchen. Each step you walk, the attention is taking you there. This removes your illusion that attention is taking me. By the time you are going towards the kitchen to eat, because your hunger has withdrawn your attention, the mind again tells you about the taste it had earlier, it wants to have. So that taste, mind is withdrawing your attention onto that taste. The mind informs that the money is there, the vehicle is there, the taste will be available on such and such shop. So you would like to go there and bring that and eat, just to satisfy that those taste buds which had experienced that taste, which is embedded in your memory, in your mind. Now this is how the body and mind, these requirements, time and material, is running you. You are the divine. And how they have made a network to involve your attention and to keep it here all the time. That is the job of Kal. He wants to put you into this life and death cycle time and again, because you will use your attention to do some karmas, and those karmas are there registered, and because it is in the memory everywhere, the whole cosmos is full with those information systems, 2G, 3G, 6G, internet, everything. Now, even somebody said that whatever Lord Krishna spoke in Gita is there in the cosmos. Science may catch up those things, and you may listen to those real sentences. In Sanskrit, he speaks about that thing. But then those things will definitely develop. The Almighty is here, trying to help the humanity to understand much more things. That how you created this illusion, these dreams, and practically Ishwar Puriji explained that part here and now. There's no past, no future. You are here. Now you are listening to me. We listen to Michael every day, and trying to remind you each and every time that we are a soul. We are not mind, we are not this body. So that child which I was explaining all his life understands this only. So I think I'll again repeat that line that we must tell our children what we are. If that circuit in the brain is developed in the early years of life, that is what will convince him. And those circuits will start growing, as if you put a seed and that seed starts growing and becomes a huge big tree. So that idea that you're a soul, if you sow this seed in the child, then he starts thinking that he is not body, he is not mind, he is that. And that seed will grow into a huge big tree to keep him safe heavens. He can enjoy his life. So what we are doing, we are telling our children that about time and material, that we make them study to earn money. So it's again money, it's material. So they understand that they have to do all this to earn money, time and material. They have to work in time. So every morning there is a program of the whole day, then office time, lunch time, dinner time, work time, evening time, and all those times. We are all in a habit forming, and how time and material has put us into this. Now the saints are coming and telling us, please form a habit of Simran. Instead of forming all those habits which you are doing throughout the day, you are involved in those aspects. If you form a habit to know, to make you understand this mind and body, that you are divine, and that Simran tells you that you are a soul. And if you remember this all the time, you will work with the divine attributes, because the attributes of the mind are not sustainable. Lust, anger, ego, attachment, deceit, fears, and worries are not sustainable. Such a beautiful explanation. Almighty has really blessed all of us here in this satsang. My mother's blessings, and all those saints which I met all my life, I had their darshans. I've been meeting all of them. I met Gurinder Singh Ji also. I had good hugs with Ishwar Puri Ji, and I could see that how uh, Kripal Singh Ji used to hold my face like this, with both hands. He would say, you just look like your mother. That's how it used to be. And that touch, which I got from Saman Singh Ji Maharaj on my head, I was hardly 5 years, less than that. And, then my mother used to take me to Dera. So now these links, and how these small little circuits in my brain started developing. And then my mother did genetic engineering, I said earlier also. And when she conceived me, and she started thinking, meditating, that my child should work on science and spirituality. See, something wonderful happens. Now this is how, if we can really understand ourselves and keep us reminded of the Simran, every day this satsang is going on. You are so lucky, I must say. This seva, earlier it used to be once a month, then once a week. But this powerful thing is happening here in this group every day. So every day you are reminded, all those speakers talk from, various scriptures also. Now all that Gurbani is there, and then Anurag Sagar is there, and then Japji Sahab is there, and all those people are talking differently. And at the same time, this joke business goes on, as Ishwar Puriji wanted to keep you happy. And this happy mood, you can understand more things, If you are involved into worries and things like that, fears and worries, then you are not free to understand. So he wants to make you laugh and then understand this beautiful area of this knowledge and to imbibe in you. So how we can really do that? It's very scientific, my dear, as we explained that the whole cosmos is one living entity. It is. It's moving. Weathers are coming, going. And it is expanding universe. It started from Big Bang to black hole. So it has got its own life. We are on it. As I always say, this finger is part of my body. I am part of the whole. Now there are three basics in the whole cosmos. I'm repeating it again. Floating material bodies, the universal mind, and the absolute. We are three here: material body, the mind, and my soul. So what I say, but an acquired mind and a created body, my dear. Remember this sentence, that you have acquired the mind and created the body, because your attention, which is the outer expression of your soul, is a capable force. Wherever the attention goes, the divine energy flows, which is within you. You can do wonders, my dear. So simple. Enjoy this life. You are here on an experience. Never have any guilt of anything in your life, because all predestined and you decided it, because you have understood this part. And Ishwar Puriji spent all his life to analyze it. Critical thinking. He criticized everything. He did not believe in it earlier. He started working. For whom, my dear? For this group, for these people who have heard him. He has spent all his life, finding out nitty-gritties of the whole concept so that we can easily understand. Why? Because he knew this. The mind will create doubts, and each doubt will dislodge us from the path. This is what we have understood now. So this is how the mind behaves with us. So please understand this beautiful area, this satsang, which is really doing wonders in your lives. It will continue to do that. So how we can really build up our total system. And I am again, time and again, stress upon that small little child in your family, with your friends, everywhere. You got to devise some method to tell him. We are working on it. That how he should know that he's divine. Because he starts understanding that engineering machines, how the computer works, how chips are there, all that is happening. All this has to be understood. Now, small little examples. Last time also I said that if we can tell that this computer is a hardware, their body is a hardware, the mind is a software, and that software is in the computer, and you are the fellow who's operating it, my dear. If you are operating this, if you can see that with that divine angle, that there are so many viruses in your software, your mind has got viruses. So how to really clear these viruses from you? So antivirus you got to keep. Your Simran is like an antivirus. So this antivirus is all the time there. Anything goes wrong, you can know that part. This is how this you got to remove these antiviruses. So the saints and sages, the Sant especially, has got beautiful sayings, and they have got all that material to remove all those viruses from your mind. So you got to load this virus in your mind, my dear. So if you can understand these simple areas, this is what is going to bring a fantastic result uh, to the to your nears and dears. Who are those nears and dears? They are all souls, my dear. They have got an acquired mind and a created body and stuck up there. Body and mind will create emotions, and they will become as terrorists. But they are souls. They are connected. They are part of the absolute. Once you have understood so nicely that once you are sitting in meditation and going above your body, your physical body, and then you go to the astral and causal, then you know that you and the master were the same. You created your own master out there. You were same. And as you go ahead, you know the absolute and you are the same. And I am telling you in simple words that you are representing the absolute here and now. This is what you are. Now, if you are representing, then how you are now trying to behave like a mind which is dealing with all unsustainable things. You have to deal here in this world through those divine attributes. And these divine attributes are love, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, wisdom, and humility, patience, state of art planning and execution ability. Let us face as it comes. Justice for all others, so that you are not in a trap of karma theory. You are just, representing the absolute. So once you are representing the absolute, you are representing Ishwar Puriji or Savan Singhji or all the masters. And once you are doing that, my dear, and you are not telling your children that they are divine, you know what we are doing, my dear? We must tell them in a manner so that my colleagues, the other souls, should pass this turmoil of time and material easily with that enjoyment, that experience they should have. And that's what you have heard that story, that Buns and Hans, so nicely explained, The Huns are here who had had this experience and now going back and dancing, that they have seen all this film, this movie they had seen. Now this is what are all those, Huns. But the Buns who did not come here, they're having a dialogue. What a beautiful explanation of the souls there and here, the people who visited this. Now, if you think that this is a dream, you are here enjoying this, each and everything, without having a wrinkle on your head, because that is what happens. We immediately get stressed. Now, this stress kills us. It involves us. Then it makes us do something for that stress. And then we do something asked by the mind, because he thinks he knows everything. Through the ego, one says, I know everything. And that ego of the mind traps you, gets you into the karma part. And then you use your mind instead of using your intuition. How simply all those satsangs, which have happened in your life here with Ishwar Puriji and all other saints. Now you understand all that. I think you are the richest in understanding the total concept in totality. My area which we've been working here is to make you understand in the simple form that you are that. You are not mind, you are not body. Once you understand this, and you have to run your life with these divine attributes. So simple. Instead of all the time getting into the clutches of the body and mind, time and material, you are not that. It's a small little window of 100 years. Again, I have been telling you this. I repeat it time and again. But now we must connect with our own lives, everyday life. So this knowledge is again that beautiful knowledge that after knowing, nothing remains to be known except living as per this knowledge and exploring it into your day-to-day life. Enjoy this. So I think there's something wonderful we talked today, and this is how it can clean your illusions and delusions that you are that, because this is how you think about it. Now, once you understand those lines from Dr. Stephen Hawking that out of nothing the universe is made and is going to finish into nothing, remember this, that this is a temporary world, you are here, and don't get involved into those emotions. Become nirmohi, they call it. So nirmohi means no attachments. Be here because nothing belongs to you. You go to a 5-star hotel, such a beautiful room and swimming pools and everything. You don't attach yourself. You go there for a week or so. You enjoy there and come back. It doesn't belong to you. You paid for that small little trip. So you are here. We are using all these vanities of this world and enjoying it. Not to get sorrow and start crying on it. Somebody's coming or somebody's going from this world. Deaths are there. So why get involved? You have known this from his story. And even my mother, when my father died, she said, nobody's going to cry here in this family. Because she understood that. Kabir also talked about it. That he is not afraid of death because he enjoys meeting the beloved. So we have to understand each and every part, and luckily, through the Sant, it is a gist of all the religions together. So this is what we should understand. Now all of them are, stuck up with those religions and rituals which are outside, again, time and material. Because I could understand that everybody has grabbed the religions, that they are using it for their purposes. It is their gains, power and money. All those things, they've made their situations like that. And again, such a beautiful area that now the Dera, which is coming there in Wisconsin, and the Corfu area, which he spoke, that there will be a spiritual center there, and all that spirituality will flow to the whole world. Now the areas, which is basically here the material part, the funding has to come from the richest country. The Western countries have got that money. Of course, all that knowledge is available here. The resources are there. Now we must think that how we can club these together. The resources and the knowledge of the Santmat put together, and to organize these areas, to organize these funds, to give it to the children of the world. And let us see that how, we are here for few lives, maybe. As they say that it is my last life, I would like to go back. But then all other lives are representing you because you are part of the absolute. So now let us make that change, so that we avoid people getting into those emotions, and emotions will create terrorists out of you, out of the children. They are all becoming, in each family it is happening. But now these circuits which have to be developed in the small little child, up to those 7 years of age, so that he is a soul. And I'm again requesting all of you to write certain songs. Songs like, some small little lyrics, 3-4 lines, not more. That I am divine, I am not mind, I am not body. As we used to sing about Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Now let's sing this. And we are here to serve. Because in some of my talks, I've said that seed is producing so many seeds from one to many, not for itself. It's service, it is seva. So now if we can develop this part, as Michael was saying, that let us have that seva. And that seva money you will get there in such concurrency. And that currency will be the best one to be used there. So as Hans, we will be dancing there, enjoying, giving parties to all those buns there, and enjoy this life. Thank you very much, Michael. It was a good opportunity for me to talk and convey my points to you. If anybody wants to put some questions and work on it, please let us join hands together and work on it. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot, my dear.
Thank you, Dr. Chand. I really, really enjoyed your talk. How the mind operates, how the universal mind operates our mind and puts the thoughts and all that. I even want to listen again to grasp it and absorb it.
Yeah, because it takes time, time and again you keep on listening, and then you pick up one small little word out of that, and then you connect with your life, and that's how you understand the whole concept, and that's how it goes on to the whole world. So this is what is an area, my dear. In this webinar, we can really do something wonderful by explaining everyone about this phenomena. Small little points will tell us that what we are a soul. We have got an acquired mind and a created body. So this is what will happen. And thank you very much for this opportunity for me to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, we have Bibi Raj with us today in satsang. Bibi Raj, say hello to us. Put your video on, please.
Hello, Divakarji.
Bibi Raj, you want to say hello to us? Oh, okay. Maybe she went somewhere, or tomorrow she said she will tell us a story. Okay, so Bibi Raj tomorrow will tell us a story, but she was with us in satsang, so that's good. Okay, so we can meditate for a couple of minutes, and I will play Ishwar Puri Ji.
And that's also a cover upon your own self. People, when they discover that what we call the mind, what we called our thinking mind, what we thought was our own real self inside, was merely a body. And that body was not a standalone body. It was just drawing that form from another wider body. A universal mind existed in which all minds existed at the same time. And just for having an individuated experience of thinking, we generated an individual mind and then covered ourselves. And now, then we covered ourselves with astral body, with sensory perceptions. We covered ourselves with the physical body, and here we are sitting, operating with all these three together without realizing that these are merely all covers. Then where is the self? What is the self? What is the true nature of our real self? Who are we? We are neither this physical body, nor are we the sensory perceptions that constitute the astral body with a 3,000-year life, nor are we the mind, which is another causal body covering us for 3 million years of physical time. We are that which is not born nor dies. We are that, we are a soul. We are the spirit of consciousness, the spirit of life that makes all these bodies work. We are that which empowers the mind to think. We are that which makes the sensory perceptions work. We are that which makes this physical body active and alive. We are that. We are the source of life, source of consciousness, source of awareness, source of experience of all these three. How do we access that? Very difficult now. First three parts were very easy. What I mentioned to you so far, on the spiritual track, on the spiritual journey, they are simple and easy. The next step is not easy. Because once you reach the state of the universal mind, it looks like that's the end of the journey. There can't be any other journey. You have reached universality. You have reached that from where everything has been born. The whole three universes have been born from there. How can there be anything else? How do we now transcend the mind? How do we transcend this whole process and go beyond that? What is the nature of the self, of the spirit, which can transcend and go into an area where there are no sense perceptions, where there is no thoughts, where there is no rationalization, where there is no logic, where there is nothing that we know of which we use every day? There are some things still there which we use every day. Let me at least mention three of them that we use every day, and they belong to beyond the mind, and the mind has nothing to do with them. The sensory perceptions have nothing to do with them. The body has nothing to do with them. Those three things are intuition, the ability to know something without thinking, the ability to say, I know it, but I don't know how I know it, the ability to say, it's just my gut feeling. That doesn't belong to any of these three. Second, love, true love, where you forget yourself and only think of the beloved. It doesn't come from thinking. If you think too much, it goes away. Third, appreciation of beauty. You can't appreciate beauty with this body, nor with the sense perceptions, nor with thinking about it. But you do. You open the window, what a beautiful day. And now you start analyzing it with your mind. What's making it beautiful? Is it that tree? Is it that lawn? Is it that house? It all disappears. These three things belong directly to ourselves. They do not belong to these bodies at all. So at least we have some clue as to what can take us beyond these bodies. These three things will take us beyond these bodies. How do we practice these? How can we use these in a system of meditation or system of self-introspection or system of journey to our own true home? How can we use these? There's no way we can use love as a system if there is no experience of love. We all have experience of love. We love people. Then what happens to that? Somehow there are misunderstandings. Then we break up. But that's not love. What is that? What is that which we call love and yet breaks up and does not lead to what we think is love? It's attachment. When we desire something, we are attached to it. We think we love that. We love material things. We love human beings. We love people. We love dogs. We love pets. We love houses. We love our cars. No, we don't love anything. We are attached to them. What's the difference between love and attachment? There's one basic difference. In love, the experience is only of one, the beloved. In attachment, the experience of two. I and you. I and my car. I and my house. I never disappears. In attachment, the ego never disappears. In love, it disappears. A very big difference. That when you are truly in love, you can't think of I. In fact, in my entire life, I have seen that the only thing that can push the ego behind is an experience of love and nothing else. All other experiences force you to bring the I in front. I have done so much meditation. I am a yogi. I am a master. I am so and so. The I is so strong. The ego becomes so strong. With every achievement, you have boosted up your ego more. With every effort, you boost your ego. You try hard, you boost your ego. You put more effort, you boost your ego. It's only when you have experience of love, you forget the I and you forget the ego. Therefore, the true way that can transcend these three bodies, including the mind, is the experience of true love. Now, if we are always attached to people, how do we have an experience of true love? True love can be experienced. We all experience it, but we destroy it. We shift so fast to our mind, to our mental attachments, to our mental reasoning. We use reasoning not to enhance love, but to kill it. When you love somebody, and you love people, you forget yourself for a moment at least. And then what happens? But does he also love me? Does she also? Here are questions the mind is asking. Where's love gone? You're back to I. You're back to the ego. We are constantly destroying our experiences of intuition, love, and beauty by analyzing them, putting them through the screen of our logic, trying to see how logical they will be, and none of them stand the test of logic and reason. They fail, and we destroy the experience itself. And are back to the ordinary, mundane world of logic, thinking, reasoning, making errors all the time, using a process of knowledge that is so defective. It's so faulty. A knowledge that we try to acquire through our mind is so defective to start with because it is based upon the premise that is available to you. And nobody can see the whole creation, the whole world at one go. You see a little small part, and then you try to interpret it. When something more comes up, that becomes faulted. This happens all the time. Oh, I wish I had known this earlier. Oh, I regret what I did. What happened to all that logic at that time? Logic has this very basic deficiency that whether you apply deductive logic, in which you're deducing something from already known and seen to you and adds to new logic, or apply inductive logic, which leaves the sense of uncertainty, no matter what the conclusion is. Logic has this infirmity in it, built into it. Yet we rely all our life on logic. It should make sense. You try to make sense of everything, and then you are caught up in these three bodies. Where does love and intuition and beauty and all that go away? Where does that blissful state go away, which is our natural state? It's not something to be achieved. We have that state right now. If we realize who we are, that state is right there, right now. What's happened is we have covered ourselves and believe that the covers are ourselves. So that is our problem, that we think the covers are ourselves. Now, coming back to the original subject that I started with, how do we transcend all these? Through a process called the Surt Shabd Yoga, the yoga of the attention attached to the sound. There are two kinds of sounds. One, the sound we use for spoken words. That's also sound. I'm speaking, you're hearing me, that's sound. This is all languages are spoken words and written words. What can be spoken and written? In our own language, in Hindi and Sanskrit in India, we call it Varanatmak. The Atma, the self is involved in using the system. The life is involved. But it's Varan, that means it can be written and spoken. So when we use written and spoken language, that's the first sound to understand anything, to move anywhere. So the process of the sound system of going in starts with that. It starts with Varan Atmak. How far can Varan Atmak take us? It can make us read books. It can make us hear discourses. It can make us hear lectures. It can make us talk. It can make us have a dialogue. All this can be used with Varanatmak, and that's the first step that you have to do. So here we are starting to making use of the sound right here. But this Varanatmak is continuously taking us for knowledge outside of this body. You can't read a book inside, you read the book outside. You can't listen to anybody except outside. Varanatmak is a great way to learn what to do next. It cannot take us anywhere more. Then, what's the next step? The next step is to transfer this power of speaking inside. If we can do that, at least another step, second step. How do we transfer the power of speaking inside? By repeating the same words without using our tongue with our mind. We can speak inside. We all speak inside. What are thoughts? Thoughts are inner speech. We are always speaking inside. So if we learn from outside, from listening to somebody, from reading something, that we can speak inside, and what we speak inside can also make us go to the next stage, is worthwhile. What should we speak then inside? Well, we can speak anything we want, but what is the most useful thing? Let's examine what we automatically speak inside every day. What do we speak every day? Thoughts. What are thoughts? Thoughts are about things that are outside the body. Therefore, we are continuously filling up our head with associations outside the body. It won't lead us inside anyway, because we are thinking about things outside. We are speaking in our head about things that are outside. Not a good deal. It's not good enough to speak anything. Therefore, you must now find out how to speak something that does not take you outside. So we go to a guy who's telling us, speak inside and you can go inside. We say, I speak inside all the time. I don't go anywhere. I just go what I'm thinking of. Particularly, now I'm telling my own example. If I were asked to speak something randomly, I'll say, old Shakey's Pizza. I'll go immediately out to the pizza shop. My thoughts will go there. I'm not going anywhere inside. Therefore, I go to the guy who's telling us that you should speak inside, use Varanatmak language, use spoken language, but use it inside as the next step. So I said, what should I now speak? He said, I'll give you different words to speak. Don't use these words that carry you outside. I'll give you words that should not mean anything outside. And he gives me a few words that have no sense for me. I said, what do you call these words? Oh, this is a mantra. Very holy words. If you repeat them, they have no association outside, but I know they have association inside. And I tell him, but I don't see any association inside at all. He said, you will, once you know what we're talking about. Supposing I am saying something that you will experience, which I have experienced, and you haven't, but I'm using those words. Don't you think when you reach that point, you will say, that's what he was talking about? Isn't that how you say outside also? Supposing somebody is telling me about a pizza, I am in India, I've never seen a pizza. He says, pizza is the right word. I say, I don't know anything about it. He says, come here. I come to United States and go to Pizza Hut and see that's pizza. Oh, I knew it right from the beginning when you told me first. The same thing here. If somebody can tell us words to speak with Varanatmak language, with spoken language, that can relate to, associate with some experiences inside, which we haven't had, but the guy has had. He's telling that these words mean something that you will see, and repeat them because they are not leading you outside anyway. But what's the idea of going on repeating words when I have no idea where they're leading me to? You know it, you are the guide, you know where they lead you. I have no idea. It looks so idle for me to keep on repeating words that have no meaning for me. He says, no, there's another use of this, a better use of it. The better use is that when you repeat these words with no meaning, at least while you are repeating these words, you can't repeat other words of the world. At least stop your distractions. Even if these words you don't understand today, even if they have no meaning, they're senseless words, at least when you're repeating the senseless words in your head, you're not giving time to the to the mind to think of other words which are always taking you outside. At least you are concentrating your attention somewhere within, not outside. Use these words for that purpose, second purpose. Any third purpose? Now that you're meaning 1, 2, 3, my mind likes 1, 2, 3. Every mind likes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When you classify, mind says that makes sense. Okay, anything else besides? Yeah, very good. The most useful thing is that if these words that somebody is telling you to repeat is coming from a person who is not only used to knowing what those words mean inside, but has reached the stage of true home, has reached the stage of totality of consciousness, knows the origin of all life and all creation. If it is coming from a perfect living master, if those words are coming from a perfect living master, he changes the power of those words. He empowers those words so they become more useful to us even outside in this physical world. He empowers them so that they can prevent negativity. Because in this life, we have positivity and negativity. Positive things bring us up. Negative things pull us down. They not only pull us down in this life here, they pull us down on the spiritual path. Therefore, if these words come from a person who has himself achieved the state of consciousness, of totality, of a true home, that we want to head for, if they come from him, he says, third point I'm going to put in these words is, empower them, that when you repeat them, without even knowing what they are referring to, but when you repeat them in a physical world, negativity of the physical world will not touch you. When you repeat them in the inner world, the imaginary world in which you are thinking, negativity will not affect you. If there are any entities who are trying to drag you away, repeat these words, the entities will run and you will see them running away. That's a great use. On this spiritual journey, where if we are trying to go into an area unknown, at least looks unknown area of meditation and going into new spaces, and negativity attacks us, what do? But if such a person, whom we call a perfect living master, and only a perfect living master can do this, nobody else can do it. Because how can anybody empower Varanatmak words, spoken words, with such a power as to prevent negativity at all levels on the journey? A perfect living master can. So here's this next step, that we now use those words not merely to prevent the mind from thinking of outside things so that the distraction become less. We use those words to prevent the mind's negativity to affect us. That's a beautiful next step. But then what happens? Then we discover that just by doing this exercise, which we call Simran or repetition, by just repeating words, using Varanatmak words, sound that is spoken in words, using that part of sound, and we can, by repeating that, hold our attention sufficiently behind the eyes, and toward the inner eye here, and start moving inwards to our journey and feel that we are withdrawing our body's consciousness, we are withdrawing the attention from the body and virtually dying while living. That experience we can get just with this process, that we can withdraw our attention. When a person dies, as you might have noticed, some of you, that when a person dies, he dies in stages. The awareness of the body disappears in stages. The first part of the body to die are the extremities, which incidentally are the last part of the body to be formed in the mother's womb. It's exactly in the reverse order that the embryo turns into a fetus and becomes a baby. It's the exact opposite way that a person dies. It dies with the withdrawal of attention and awareness from the extremities to the torus, to the main part of the body, goes up to the head, and when only a person dies in the brain, he is brain dead. Same process takes place. By the use of these words, under guidance of a master, of a teacher, you can reach a state where you can so much withdraw your attention from outside things by continuous repetition that you can have no awareness of your body and feel that the body has disappeared. You are still there. Very much there. You're more there than now. How can that be? Because your vision has improved. You don't need glasses. You have 20/20 vision without that. Did you ever know that even when you lose your vision, but when you look inside in the imagination, the vision is still 20/20? Did you ever know that when you are deaf and can't hear, inside you want to hear is still perfect? Did you ever know that the inner self is always perfect in these sensory perceptions? You know why? Because the inner self is made up of sensory perceptions. It's not a body in that sense. If you put the sensory perceptions together, that is the astral body. Just like the mind itself is the causal body. We call them bodies because it's a form outside of ourselves. All of them are forms outside of ourselves. So when you are able to do that, you become more enlightened. You can see better. You can hear better. You can fly better. There's no gravity to affect you. No weight loss pills have to be taken. That body flies freely. And you can have any kind of body you want because you are just making it through imagination, which is a faculty of the perceptions. Imagination, where do we imagine from? When we say I imagine something, where does it come from? That astral self. It comes from that body. Therefore, the power to experience so much is enhanced to such an extent that you discover this was your real self. But more than that, the mind, which was working under the conditions of a physical body and had become a physical mind, now becomes no longer a physical mind. It is no longer interested only in remembering physical things. It starts remembering more than that. The astral mind, as we call the pindi man or physical mind, and that's the andi man or the astral mind. The astral mind now can recall things that happened 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago. You were still there. You moved around in different bodies in reincarnations. Yourself did not change. That astral body was still the same. You get back to a state. If you only have a glimpse of that, you can have a glimpse and get back into this. Glimpse of that, yeah, I know there is something. But if you are able to stabilize through a meditational practice of withdrawing attention behind the eyes, you're able to stabilize, you can remember everything of that life. So then you discover that you have been living in a different form for so long. This was another dream-like state that you went to a physical body. When you meditate beyond that, words have no meaning now because the words finish there. Whether it's physical words, imaginary words, mental words, they all end. Words have no role. No mantra can ever take anybody above that. People who say we reach satsang through mantra have only reached this lower part of the astral body. And they call it satsang because there's no way to know you reach the end or not. How do you know? How can anybody tell? If somebody has had an experience that this is the creator of the universe, I see I am the real person who can fly, I am angel, I am so and so, I have reached heaven. How can you say there's anything beyond? Unless there is somebody with you. Like here, somebody says there is more. And you say, okay, let's explore. Unless somebody can tell you there's more, that's the end of your journey. But a perfect living master who has guided you with those special words, he will be there with you. So the first step to do, in order to make any further progress through the Surt Shabd way, to go to your true home, is to contact the same guy who was here as a perfect living master and discover him there. You don't have to do too much to discover him. The more you concentrate your attention, the faster that guy will appear. And since everything is bright there, he will look much brighter than you have seen in the physical world. We sometimes call that bright figure of the perfect living master as the radiant form of the master. Radiant form can be visible, disappears. Visible, disappears. Why? Because our attention is concentrated and not so concentrated. But we begin to see. Then, when we have perfected our meditation a little better, the radiant form of the master appears and becomes our friend forever. Now, that's a great point of change on the spiritual journey. Because if he is there, and he is conscious at all times of his true home and knows the entire journey, from then on, we just ride with him. We don't do anything. But what is the ride? The ride after that does not take place through Varanatmak Shabd or the use of spoken language or this sound. The sound changes. Then it becomes Dhunatmak Shabd. A shabd, a word, sound that can be heard, listened to. But you cannot really write it down. A sound that can pull you. A sound that has a power. A sound that comes from the origin of consciousness. A sound that comes from the true home. A sound that's generated there and is coming all the way down. It's coming right up to here. And is the real cause of all experiences. That kind of powerful resonance. That kind of powerful vibration. Vibration is too small a word, it requires space. A resonance that does not require time and space. A resonance that has a creative power to make a black hole into entire creation. That kind of a resonance that's originating from a true home and never stops and is responsible. It cannot break anywhere. If it breaks, the whole system destroyed. That resonance is there right in us, even at this moment, right inside our heads. And that's sustaining us and sustaining our consciousness and our life. From this point onwards, from the astral level of the radiant form of the Master, nothing else will work except that resonance. The Dhunatmak Shabd comes into play. That's the sound we are talking of when we say they put the attention on the sound and you can go home. That's the unbroken sound. But the unbroken sound, which we continuously then hear and changes in its form, changes not only in the resemblance to musical instruments, like we say the first sound can be seen like a bell sound. It looks like a bell sound. It has a vibration. It's got a sine curve in it. It goes a little up and down. It has a peals in it of a bell sound. But the bell sound becomes longer and longer peals and then becomes one peal. And then becomes like it's one long musical instrument playing. After that, it doesn't even look like a sound. It looks like a power, an energy, something so strong that has its own pull to take you up, as if you don't have to do anything. I sometimes refer to the American cars to give a simile to that situation. The American cars are made up with front-wheel drive or a rear-wheel drive. What's the difference in the two cars? In the rear-wheel drive, the drive of the motor of the car pushes the car forward because it's the rear wheel that are pushing the whole front car. And then the front-wheel cars, the front wheels pull the car. One pushes, one pulls. So long as we are using these varnatmak words, the spoken words, in order to go there, we are pushing ourselves. We are pushing on the journey. When we listen to the sound pulls us, that's the front wheel car. The sound has the power to pull us up. As we put attention on the sound pulls us up. That's why it's called Surt Shabd Yoga. Put your attention on the sound and it'll take you up. It takes you up by stages, of course. And as we were confused by the first stage, thinking it's our true home, we are confused at every stage. There are masters. There have been very successful people in meditation who have taken us to different stages. And every stage they think is Sachkhand, is our true home. Because they couldn't see anything better. There was nobody to take them better. Those who can take us to a final state, which is beyond the mind, at the point where mind ceases to exist, only the soul opens up, which we call Par Brahm, beyond the creative power of this universe. When we can go there, we discover who we really were. We were a unit of consciousness, that's it, period. All others were covers upon us. But even a unit of consciousness itself is illusion. That's the journey. True spiritual journey is when we find we are not one unit of consciousness, we are the totality of consciousness, experiencing a unit. And that's the journey from Par Brahm to Sachkhand. From discovering the individuated soul to discovering the soul was merely operating under total soul, under one. That's the real spiritual journey. To people who can teach us the real spiritual journey have always been there upon this earth. For those seekers who seek that end, who want to see the totality. Those who want to seek intermediate stages, there's lots of teachers, hundreds of them. Those who just want to have peaceful time with yoga as an exercise for calmness, to lie like a dead body, shavasana or other asanas, and you want to do that just for a little peace. Fine, there are millions of yogis like that, millions in this world. But those who can take you within, maybe thousands. But those who can take you to the top of the universal mind and say, this is your true home, in hundreds. What about those who can take you beyond the mind? Their numbers can be counted upon the fingers of your two hands in the entire world, here, physical world. They're very rare. But then, why are they so rare? They're rare because even as seekers, we don't know what we are seeking. Most of us are seeking relief from distress and pain of this world. If we can get some relief, we are happy. A true master, he gave me calm, peace. That's fine, lots of them. You can go to them and get it. The number of seekers who say, I've had all of it. I want my true home. I don't want to stop anywhere. I don't want to be in my mind. My mind has been a mess for me. Very few. But wherever they are, wherever that seeker is, a perfect living master will appear for the seeker. Seeker cannot find a perfect living master. That should be a very odd statement I'm making, that a seeker who wants something like this can't find. Then what is the secret behind it? The secret is, if the seeker is finding a perfect living master, and the perfect living master doesn't know where the seeker is or who it is, he's not a perfect living master anyway. The definition of a perfect living master is, he is totality of consciousness and the seeker is part of him. And he is knowing it, aware of it right now. If he knows it, then even in the physical drama of life, where the seeker is, he must appear there by himself. He must appear through a system called coincidence, a system called sudden circumstances where such a person appears. But since so many people appear in our life, how do we know who is that person who is really a perfect living master? I get emails every day asking me, how will I know if there's a perfect living master? Somebody wrote to me, he has found two people who come by my definition of perfect living master. And they both look perfect. Which one do you think I should follow? I said, people have a hard time finding one. You found two, you're very lucky. And follow anyone. How does a seeker know that a guide who has come? I'll tell you a few little hints. First hint, he will not say he's a guide. He'll not say he's a master. He'll come as a friend. Secondly, he will live an ordinary life like us. If we are living high, he'll come high. If we're living low, he'll come low. He'll adjust to where we are so that he can be a friend. You know, a perfect living master becomes a friend before he becomes a master. If he doesn't, then you are getting a teacher. A perfect living master, not a teacher. He's come to be your friend forever, for up to your true home. He's not come to teach. Teaching is common. There are millions of books teaching the same thing. There are thousands of teachers teaching the same thing. A perfect living master comes to take you back home as a friend. If the friendship element is missing, then something very vital is missing. Thirdly, he's not come to perform magical experiments and magical miracles over here to show you I am so and so. If he's doing that, then he's just at the lower level. Then he's a psychic. Then he's operating through the lower chakras of energy. The energetic things he's showing up. If he does not do any of these things, then he's just an ordinary person like us. Totally ordinary. Then it becomes even more difficult to find out that I'm running into so many people, then who is it? Then comes the real clue. If the unconditional love of that person, unconditional, can be experienced again and again, over and over, and pulls you just because of the unconditional love, that's it. It's not the other things. Because the ultimate path from the mind to the spirit is path of love alone. He is not come to use any other method. All other methods are for our mind, for our anticipated way of doing yoga, for our having learned various kinds of yogas and expecting it to work on that way. He'll go ahead with you as a friend. But what he's pulling us with to take us beyond the mind is unconditional love. If you don't experience that, wait your turn. Maybe he's coming some other time. But if the unconditional love, which sometimes we can't experience straight away because of our mind. Mind says, no, maybe I'm just feeling this for nothing. And then wait, test it out. We have been here millions of years. A small wait means nothing. Some people say, we have been waiting for 3 months. What is 3 months? In millions of years. We waited lifetimes. Wait, no hurry. The other thing is, now I'm talking from the other side, from the side of the perfect living master. What does he come for? He's come by his unconditional love to pick up those who are seeking the perfection. He knows who he has to pick up. If he doesn't, he's not a perfect living master. And if he already knows, then he must appear in the lives of those people. And when he appears, he must then ultimately win them over to himself and be their friends through unconditional love. Unconditional love really means unconditional love. It does not mean, okay, if you do this, I'll be loving you. If you don't follow my instructions, sorry. That's not unconditional love. Unconditional love means he will love you no matter whether you love him or not. He will love you if you hate him. He will love you if you beat him. He will love you if you kill him. If that is not there, he's not a perfect living master. That's unconditional love. That flows so much. It grips us and draws us to him. Ultimately, that becomes the only test that we know. And it pulls us. We don't even have to worry about whether we call him a master or not. It doesn't matter at all. No names, no language is necessary for that. It's something else. It's a relationship from the soul to the soul. It's a relationship. He's not come to deal with our physical bodies. He's not come to deal with our mind. He's coming in response to our internal seeking, the seeking of the soul to go back home, to its own totality, to its own origin. He's only come into our life for that. So at that time, when we say, who is he? Who is this person who's come outside? And we'll have more serious questions about this subject as we go in and we find that this world we are seeing is a projection of our own. If we are projecting this world and we're projecting a guy ourselves in this world, how can he be a master? He's our creation. And that's another great discovery we make in the spiritual path, that the world we are seeing does not exist independently outside, and that we have just come for a little while here in a million-year world that has already existed around us, that we have come and created a world for ourselves outside. That's a projection from our own mind. That if that is so, what is another one guy out of our entire projection, and we think he knows more than we do? He's our projection. That makes it again a question mark, that how can a person who is our projection, and how can he be a perfect living master who can take us anywhere, because we are making him up. Virtually we're making up everything, then we are making him up too. Well, we made him a perfect living master. When did we do that? Before we left our true home. We didn't make him now. We didn't make him today. We didn't make anything today. It's all out of our control. We can't change anything. We can't even change the size of this room. Sitting here, if we made it up, we could be able to change it. We, the physical bodies, made nothing. We, the astral bodies, made nothing. We, the mind, did create all this, but on a pattern that was made earlier. Where did we make all this? We made it when we were in our true home, which we are now seeking. We made the whole plan of creation before we left. We made our individuated souls before we left. The totality made everything. You can call it the totality of consciousness, God, creator, ultimate creator, whatever title you want to give it, doesn't matter. The whole show was pre-programmed at that time, including the fact that when we are in a state of physical experience, having a physical experience, a physical body, we should keep some key to get back. Supposing we had locked ourselves out from our true home forever, that would be a tragic thing. And don't think we could be totality of consciousness, be so stupid that we should lock out ourselves into an experience outside and then be in that all the time. We did lock out ourselves, but we did make arrangement to go back. What was the arrangement? to carry through the same sound current that creates everything. And that same sound current should be appearing at all levels and represent something that we can see and experience, and that should take us back. So the projection, of course it's a projection. What we say is a perfect living master is as much our creation as the rest of the world. But we have ourselves endowed that projected person to be our real self. And therefore, what does actually happen in our experience with such a person? First we see radiant form, then he travels with us through the rest of the journey, and then we find that he is really merely a manifestation of the same sound. It is the sound that becomes a form, and which we call the perfect living master. This discovery comes immediately after you start leaving the mind. That we use the same power, creative power, which we call sound, which we call word, which we call nad, which we call shabd, which we call by so many words in every scripture of the world. Every great saint, every great mystic has said the same thing. How can you say the beginning was the word? How can you say word made flesh? What does it mean? These terms coming in our scriptures. How can a word become flesh and become a master? That's the power. The word is merely an expression because there is no word to express it. So we just use a simple thing, word. Because it can be heard, because it can be listened to, because we can say it resembles sound. That's the only reason. Therefore, we should know that these arrangements have been made by us. And it's a wonderful experience, like many wonderful journeys here are. When we have a wonderful journey, a wonderful experience of going along with the word, which is the master. Let's try today meditation behind the eyes with love and devotion, where you visualize your beloved and you express your love to the beloved in the best way you can and see the results of it. Please assume that your body is your house and you are sitting on the 6th floor of that house behind the eyes. First, establish yourself in the meditation chamber behind the eyes, then visualize your beloved, then start any kind of meditation you want, including Simran, listening to the sound, or conversation with the master.